Turning our attention right now to the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Investigators, following the release of that FBI surveillance video, may believe there is more images out there. They're asking people within a 2-mile radius to kind of keep an eye out for that. Also send in some of their own surveillance video from the month of January about anything that is out of the ordinary. And TMZ, Fox News talking about this, a piece of video as public assistance is needed. Former FBI supervisor special agent tells Fox News Digital that the person seen in the video with backpacks near Nancy Guthrie's home the night she vanished should not be called a suspect or person of interest, saying, quote, "They are simply someone identified through the canvas who need to be fully identified in order to determine whether or not there is any involvement." So potentially more big developments and showcasing some of those Ring doorbell cameras that so many people have. Let's be joined right now by TMZ's Branson Quirke. Branson, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And their FBI surveillance video of that individual outside the home of Nancy Guthrie obviously got a lot of people's attention. They're now asking for more, and including this one. What do you make of it?
Well, it's important to look at the timeline that the authorities had released just a week ago to look at these videos. TMZ now obtaining this new Ring doorbell footage that the FBI is investigating. It's on our website. You can clearly see in this video that this person has a backpack on, which raised a lot of alarm bells because this was only 5 miles away from Nancy's home in Tucson. And in this new footage, this is early morning on February 1st. This is around 1:53 a.m. So just technically, 20 minutes or so before on that timeline that it was revealed that the software had disconnected for that Nest camera that was on Nancy Guthrie's door. Now, in this footage, the new footage that the FBI is investigating, we see a man wearing this backpack. He goes up to a gate. He can't gain access to the gate, and then he leaves. This gives him, 18 minutes or so to then drive to Nancy Guthrie's home, put on this new disguise, and then approach the door. That's a theory that is being run around right now, and that's obviously why the FBI is really lasering in on this video, because this is very, similar circumstances to not really look at this and go, this could be connected.
Yeah, that is so very true. And obviously just the connection, the timeline, all of these things similar. And they're not calling this individual a person of interest or a suspect, just that they want to talk with him, similar to the way they talked to that Carlos individual a couple nights ago. They're also asking for people around the area to send in video from basically the entire month of January to see if there's anything suspicious on any of those cameras. What might that have for investigators?
Right. Well, they've asked the public to please keep an eye out. Anything suspicious, please report. And with this new video of this alleged suspect walking up to the door, now seeing what he was wearing, seeing the body type, and I have to say he or she because we don't know exactly the gender of the person that is in that video walking up to the doorbell at Nancy Guthrie's house. But they are saying, please be on the lookout for anything suspicious. Samantha Guthrie also in one of her videos saying the exact same thing. Report it to authorities as soon as possible, because she does believe that Nancy is alive, and she is really hoping, obviously, to bring her home healthy and safe. In terms of the investigation, it's important to note as well that they are tracking some of the items from the video of that man walking up to the door, and there's 3 items specifically that they're looking at, which includes the glove, the backpack, and the gun holster. They've already identified the backpack to being a Walmart Ozark backpack specifically, and this kind of gave them many different paths here to identify different parts of this person, which they could eventually lead them to finding when these items were purchased, if they are new items, if they were purchased from a store nearby in Tucson, because they do believe this person is Tucson based. Now, looking at all this footage right now, there's a lot more questions than answers, obviously, but we can only hope that they're getting to the bottom of this very soon.
Yeah, they want to find some of these answers, anything in particular that might keen their interest to lead them to the next lead that leads them clue to hopefully finding Nancy Guthrie. I also want to ask you, because we were hearing reports yesterday, TMZ received another note saying someone had information that would lead to the kidnapper. They're saying they needed a Bitcoin, and then more developments in terms of this, ominous developments on this. TMZ, a post saying they have received another email from a person who claims to know the identity of Nancy Guthrie's kidnappers. The words are chilling, saying in there that this is to, quote, not be taken, that they haven't been taken seriously. What more can you tell us about this correspondence? Another note to TMZ, potentially from someone that knows who the potentially kidnapper is.
Well, this first note from this alleged, person that knows this suspect, possibly knows the identity of this suspect, was sent to us yesterday. The initial one asking for a Bitcoin in exchange for information about the suspect to identify them, saying that they know who it was. Then today, this morning, 8 o'clock this morning, Pacific time, just after 8, we got another note from this allegedly the same person saying that they're not being taken seriously. Obviously, this person sent this anonymously. They gave reasons as to why they are asking for the Bitcoin, which we were able to divulge. They did say that they're asking for the Bitcoin because when they do reveal this information about the suspect, they will have to lay low, and they need that money to be able to, step back from everything in case this person that did this, kidnapped Nancy, is going to enact retaliation on them in fear of retaliation. So this second note, we sent it off to the FBI, sent it off to the authorities, and they are currently investigating it. It's unclear whether or not it is legitimate, because obviously, and we've seen it already, an arrest was made. People are taking advantage of this situation.
And I wanted to ask you about that. This letter is ominous, but we don't know if it is authentic. And you alluded to it, saying they need the money to lay low after identifying the kidnapper for fear of retaliation, but also said in this note, quote, they won't want to be, in quote, incriminated like the Carlos guy. And clearly this individual is at least watching the news, if not having information. What do you make of that line? The fact that they know that an individual was detained, was questioned by authorities about this case.
Right. Well, Carlos, who was detained for several hours and questioned about this and released, I mean, obviously could bring someone fear. If this is a person that it really does have information about the kidnapper, then this is genuine fear that this exact situation might happen to them. And they did mention legal fees as well, having to use that money on legal fees to stay behind the radar here and everything if they do get caught. So there's a lot more questions here than answers right now. We really don't know if this is a legitimate actual person that knows information about this. Again, could be someone taking advantage. But there is another development that we have to mention too, just showing nearby there was a glove as well, a black glove that was taken in to testing as well, sent off to DNA testing, and it's currently pending whether or not that it is actually related to the case in any sense. But that person in the video was wearing what appeared to be dark gloves. Can't see if it's black or not, but this was a black and white video. There's a lot here that they have to actually make a move here.
Yeah, lots of information now coming in, and we know the mountain of tips and calls they are getting about this since that surveillance video was released a couple days ago. All right, Branson, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your insight here on Live Now from Fox.
Thanks for having me.